And unfortunately, our type of churches have suffered from this as well, a lack of understanding of the kingdom, right? Some ministries just need to let some people go. What we have not understood is, the kingdom is the kingdom. And our church is not necessarily the kingdom. It might be that brother A grows up, gets married, ends his life in that particular church. That could be what they need to do. But every church or every ministry that exists is not for every individual who goes to that place to stay in that place. Because if God has not given everything to one person, he's not given everything to one church, right? So whereas this church might be a specialist in prophecy, you might be an evangelist. And for you to grow in the way that you need to grow as an evangelist, you need to go to another ministry that actually that's their specialism, and that ministry will help you to grow in evangelism. Now, you may end up going back to where you came from. You may not. You may stay at that place, or you may move to somewhere else. But whatever the case, you need to go to grow. We, unfortunately, not in every church. So when I'm speaking in general terms, I'm not talking about everyone, but a lot of churches do not have the mentality of, brother, you know what? I see what you are supposed to be. I don't think you're going to get that here. Why don't you go to brother so-and-so's church? That really doesn't exist, because we see someone with talent. We just want to keep them and build up our church and build up. No. We have a very churchdom mentality and not a kingdom mentality. There's a lot of, as Beulah was saying, there's a lot of young men and young women who should have been released to go, and they haven't. And that is a travesty. And a lot of people's lives have been wasted, and they have never grown, and they have never fulfilled potential in the time they should have. Now, we know God can help them to redeem the time, but you know what? You can't get the energy or you're not going to have the time and the energy of a 30-year-old when you're 60. Yes, we know God can give it, but it's not going to be the same, because guess what? God makes everything beautiful in its time. So if you were meant to be that guy in 1980, you can be that guy in 2010, but it won't be the same. Yeah? And so because we have had a lack of understanding of the kingdom, because we have not shared resources with each other, and we've been very proud and arrogant, there's a lot of people who could have benefited from rubbing shoulders with this church and maybe going into that ministry for a couple of months, or maybe, go into that ministry for a year to develop. And maybe it was for them to come home, but they didn't. But let me add this element to it, and I can give you a personal testimony. If that has been the case, right, it's not because God didn't give those individuals opportunities to maybe go to grow. The fact that you don't grow is never going to be down to someone else other than you. Now, don't get me wrong. If those ministries and ministers have been responsible for suppressing gifts, they will have to answer to God for that, right? That's fine. But you're going to have to answer to God, because the God that I serve and I know and I've experienced makes opportunities. And I can guarantee you, every person who's had 20 years of their life wasted, God created a situation where they could have left, or they could have got what they needed to get. Now, whether through fear or unbelief or doubt or loyalty that they shouldn't have had, they have now suffered. Now, this is not casting aspersions saying they're going to go to hell. No, I'm not saying that. That can happen and you still make it in. So this is not a heaven and hell issue. I'm saying that God will always provide a way of escape, literally and spiritually. Now, whether that individual has taken that is up to them. But let me tell you that there is no way, no man on this earth can hinder your growth. You might get delayed. People might hide you. And you hear Apostle Smith always talking about people might hide you. And you might get delayed a little. But even in that delay, God will teach you something. And so it's almost a paradox and a bit of a dichotomy where, yes, what you're saying 100%, a lot of people's time has been wasted. But those people, They are responsible for their time being wasted. It sounds harsh. Yes, their ministers will have to answer, but they're also responsible because God gives us a chance. He gives us an opportunity. And sometimes through fear, doubt, and unbelief, sometimes we think we deserve to be stuck in the back room. Yeah? Sometimes we think that's all our job is, just to clean the church. No, yes, you should clean the church. But you have a gift and a calling. And you have a Bible which tells you you have a gift and a calling. So ultimately what I'm saying is 100% agree, but no man has an excuse to not flourish and grow. It's not going to be acceptable. I'm not going to be able to say to God, my apostle hid me. My apostle didn't know my gifting and calling. No. God's going to say, no, you remember that time when I spoke to you in prayer and I said, you know what? You need to go here. You need to do this. Oh, but no. I never told you. You should have listened to me. And it's a great way to round out this study that you, as an individual, and we said it, I think, on the last study, your relationship with God is top priority. There is no devil from hell that can hinder your growth in Christ. There is no apostle. There is no deacon. There is no bishop. Not Jezebel. Yeah? Not Satan. Not any of his angels. Not your mum. Not your dad. Your purpose and destiny, whether you fulfill it, ultimately is going to come down to the decisions that you make.